Hey guys, my name is Caroline. Welcome back to my channel. If you didn't already know, I was an exchange student studying abroad in Germany, but as you may be able to tell by the new background, I am now back at home. Yes, I have returned to the US, and in today's video I'm going to be discussing why. You would not believe the amount of DMs I've gotten asking to go into why I left Germany. So I'm here to do that today, kind of clarify it for everyone, and also at the end of this video I'm going to get to the other topic of what is my channel going to be now, am I going to still make videos, stuff like that. So to start off this video, I want to make the point that I am normally a very committed person. I am very driven. I always follow through with my goals. I have probably quit things like twice in my entire life. I quit dance when I was 10 years old, and I quit swim last year. I have never quit something that I was so committed to, and so this was a very, very difficult decision for me to make, and it's very personal for me to share the reasons why. So just be respectful in the comments, keep some of your opinions to yourself, and I know that this is the right decision for me, and that's why I made it. So I have kind of three main points of why I left, and then a bunch of other underlying reasons, and I'm gonna get into that. So the three main points, first, COVID-19, second, my mental health, and third, personal things going on, some things to do with my host family, some things to do with my area. So I'm gonna start off with the big topic, COVID. So when I first went into Germany, the first 2 months things were great. COVID was impacting things very little. The cases were a lot lower than they were in the US. Yes, I still had to wear masks and things like that, but actually in my school, we didn't have to wear masks once we were seated in the classroom. A lot of things were still open, there were a lot of opportunities, and so the first 2 months of COVID, great. After those first 2 months though, things started getting worse. So cases were rising drastically in Germany, and then along came the new variant Omicron. Omicron started spreading like crazy. Things were getting shut down everywhere. You had to get tested to go into any facility. Even if you're fully vaccinated, you still had to get tested. All of my travel with my host family got canceled, and I wasn't able to join any local sports because all of the public gyms in my region got shut down. So during that time, it was very, very difficult, and honestly I would say it had more of an impact on me than the first lockdown did. When COVID hit here in the US, before I even thought about going on exchange, obviously it was very difficult and it was very new and strange, but I had my family, I had my friends, and I had this routine that I was able to build with those consistent things. But being abroad, being alone, without my family or friends, with a completely new host family, with a completely new language, new area, new rules, new government, all of this was so foreign to me because I had no idea what to expect, which made it so much scarier, and I felt more alone because I didn't have that support system around me. The impacts of COVID lead me into my next point, which is mental health. So my mental health really, really suffered on my exchange year, and it wasn't just typical homesickness. I wasn't like, oh, I really wish I could see my mom and dad right now. It was more like sitting alone in my room every night, crying, feeling so alone and desperate, feeling like I had no one to talk to who would understand. It just really suffered. The first 2 months I was great. I was really happy. I was getting to go out and do things, meeting new people. I was new to everyone, so it was super interesting, and like people to invite me places. But even during those times, I realized that I was coping with my loneliness and lack of consistency with other bad habits, i.e. eating. I developed disordered eating while I was on my exchange year. During those first 2 months, my eating habits drastically changed just because of the ways German eat is so different than what I was used to, and I compensated for my mental struggles that I wasn't yet in tune with by overeating. I was binge eating chocolates, sweets, bread, all of those things without doing any physical activity because I wasn't able to get a gym membership yet. It was too cold to go out running. I wasn't swimming like I used to. I used to swim 4 hours a day in the US, and so I kind of had food freedom. I had no worries about weight gain. And then in Germany, with no physical activity and binge eating, obviously I did gain weight. So during those first 2 months, even when I wasn't yet in tune with the state of my mental health, I was still acting on it because I was binge eating. In the 3rd month, I realized that I was binge eating. I was gaining weight. I wasn't liking how I looked. I felt really guilty about eating. And I was also surrounded by other influences that I'm not going to name that were making me think more about calories and eating and things like that. So then I went into this restrictive cycle. I started not eating. I started avoiding eating. I started trying to eat the lowest calorie thing I could. And then I still found myself binging later at night. I was so embarrassed by the amount of like candy wrappers and stuff that I had accumulated in my room from hiding at night and eating. It's so bad. And during that 3rd month of restriction, I also started becoming more in tune with how I was feeling mentally. I had a lot less things to do during this time, so I was left alone with my thoughts a lot. I would sit in my room just being bored, not having anything to do. I didn't have any extracurriculars. I didn't have any clubs I could join. No school sports. All of my friends were busy studying, but I didn't have to study because I barely understood what was on the tests. And so I found myself sitting alone in my room a lot of the time. That was the month where my mental health just went down, down, down. I would do nothing at all during the weekdays. I would go to school and then I would come home and sit in my room every day of the week. And then on the weekend, I would catch a train and go on a city trip just to escape and pretend like I was having fun. But even during those times, I was so distracted. Like, I couldn't stay present in the moment. I couldn't enjoy the trips I was making. I couldn't enjoy the people around me because I was so distracted with all of these other things going on inside my head. I just really, I can't put it into words. It was just this constant feeling of loneliness and hopelessness. I kind of want to address some of the things that I believe impacted my mental health along with COVID. It was a few other things, so I'm going to get into that real quick. So one was that I couldn't build a new routine. I have moved 7 times in my life. I've moved to different states, different cities. I've had to completely restart, make new friends, find new sports, build a whole new self. And that's actually part of the reason I chose this program, is because I thought I would adjust so easily because I've been used to doing that all my life. But in Germany, I found myself not able to build a new routine. I didn't have any consistency in school. One teacher wouldn't expect me to do anything, and I just sat there for the whole class. And then the next teacher would expect me to participate and speak aloud like a fluent German speaker. I didn't know how to go about studying because German tests are written and I didn't know how to write fluent German. I wasn't actually learning or grasping anything that we would discuss in class because it was all in a foreign language. And after school, I had the gym. I got a gym membership, but that was only after the first month and a half that I was able to start going. And even with that, it was inconsistent because I wasn't able to drive myself. I'm so used to being able to drive myself everywhere here, but on exchange I wasn't allowed to drive, and so I would have to bike or get driven by my host mom because there wasn't a bus or train that would go to the gym. And the gym was the only extracurricular I had, so all of that extra time I had no idea what to do with. And I made some friends, but a lot of the time they were busy with their own lives or their studies, and so I really just was unable to build a routine in Germany. That was one thing that definitely impacted my mental health. The next thing was the eating habits that I talked about earlier. And I also want to go back and talk about school because I think I prepared myself wrong and I had the wrong expectations for German school. Before I left for Germany, I took 2 math classes during my freshman year. I took 2 science classes my sophomore year, and I took an English class before I left for Germany during the summer. So I had all the credits I needed so that I was able to take this gap year almost. So that left me with nothing to focus on in school. I know some CBYXers that didn't have all the credits they needed, so they did have to take some classes and focus on some classes in Germany that were going to transfer back to the US and give them grades. And looking back, I really wish I did that because that would have given me something to focus on, that would have given me somewhat of a routine, some consistency. But without that, I had no idea what to expect in school. I didn't know what to do for myself. I didn't know what to study. I didn't know how to study. And so school was another thing that impacted my mental health. And the last reason that I came home was personal things that I really can't get into, unfortunately. A lot of these things are private between my very close friends and family, but it had to do with my home life in Germany, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. But that was another factor that impacted me. So it took me a full 3 months until I realized that I actually did need to come home due to my mental state and my physical state, actually. And so that last month in December, I had a talk with my host family, I had a talk with my real family, and I had a talk with the people in CBYX, and came to the decision that it was time for me to come home, because here in the US I have a stable environment where I can recover. I have friends and family that I know will support me no matter what. I have more control over my food and choices here in the US, and I also have access to people that can help me recover. This is a topic for another video, but mental health in Germany is just not acknowledged enough, and there aren't enough therapists to care for the amount of people that are suffering, which is a severe problem. So if I were to try and get a therapist in Germany, I would have to wait over a year. I would be gone by then. It makes no sense. Here in the US, I can get a therapist, I can talk to my doctors and get the help that I need. I just overall needed a stable and comfortable place to recover and get better, because I know that if I were to stay in Germany any longer, things would only get worse. The amount of waiting I did for something to change is unbelievable. I really did not want to quit out on this program. I still have regrets about it every day. I sometimes feel just so unsuccessful and like a disappointment for quitting out on the program, but I really know that this is what's best for me, and this is what needed to happen, and I already feel a million times better being back here. But the impact that this experience has had on me is something that I've never experienced before, and it's impacted me so much that I still need to seek help even though I'm back at home. So now that that is all discussed, what now? What is my channel going to become? What am I going to be focusing on now? What is my life gonna be? So I am going to be going back to my American high school that I was originally at. After this break, I will be going back for the second semester, or second half of the year. I'll be taking classes as normal, get the credits I need. I'll be taking some tests. I'll be looking into colleges. And my goal is to continue learning German and also take a German fluency test so that I can account for what I learned there. And for this channel, what will become of it, I am going to continue to make videos. I will try to upload as frequently as possible. Just know that it might be a little bit consistent due to me going back to school, going back to my sports, and readjusting and regathering myself. Obviously, I won't be in Germany, but I will still be trying to learn some new German words, so I can keep you updated with my progress on that. I can make a few videos trying to speak in German. I will be making some daily vlogs just so you can see what a typical American lives like, maybe some travel vlogs. I know that my family and I have some travel plans, but I will continue to make videos. And I hope you stick around to stay tuned with my journey. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This was a very personal video, but it definitely needed to be addressed, and I hope everyone can respect my decision and maybe give some advice or opinions down in the comments. I'm sorry that this video was so delayed. I did take a week or two off to myself and to be with my family and friends. So yeah, that is all I have to say. I hope you somewhat enjoyed, and I promise a new video will be out soon. Definitely a more positive one. Thank you for watching, und tschüss!